Take a look. New video right here tonight at 5 from the WHAS11 drone. We are over Applegate Lane and the home that will soon be burned to the ground. One day after city leaders announced their plan for the home filled with dangerous chemicals, tonight we're learning more about how the controlled burn will actually work. The mayor describing the house as a hoarder's home, saying the excessive debris makes it unsafe for crews to remove the threats piece by piece and unrealistic for robots. Hello everyone, I'm Doug Profit.
And I'm Shay McAllister. Today we're following up on a concern we've heard from you that burning these chemicals sounds just as unsafe. Grace McKenna talked to the Director of Management today about why this is the path the city is taking.
Since the city's announcement Tuesday, we have received dozens of questions from our viewers asking how the city's plans for the controlled burn could impact things like the air quality. We're trying to get those answers for you today. Emergency Director Jody Myman says the fire will burn at a very high heat to effectively eat up the chemicals in the home before they become smoke. They'll also attempt to schedule the fire for a day with the right levels of humidity and calm winds to keep the smoke from spreading. Still, he acknowledges they don't know how far it could travel.
We don't. We're evaluating that. Like I said, we're working with the National Weather Service, looking for that best possible day. We're going to do everything we can to keep not only the community but our responders safe.
Dr. Monica Unseld with Until Justice Data Partners said that's one of her main concerns, saying her environmental justice group is compiling health resources for people nearby.
A normal structure fire is already toxic. Firefighters have higher rates of cancer due to the chemicals in our buildings.
Myman says it will be some time before a burn takes place. They'll also develop backup plans in case conditions aren't ideal, and will have air and particulate monitors in the neighborhood to keep an eye on conditions. In Louisville, Grace McKenna, WHAS 11 on your side.
Now, coming up right here tonight at 6, I'm going to take you on an aerial tour of that street with our WHAS11 drone. I'll show you the properties next to Hibble's home and where all the other neighbors live. You will see the true proximity of their houses to the one that will soon be burned to the ground. And tomorrow, the mayor will be holding another news conference to announce more details about the upcoming public meeting on how the fire will work.
Now we have more information about that property. WHAS 11 found code violations at the Applegate Lane home dating back to 2012. For more than a decade, owner Mark Hibble was racking up citations and fees, some individual fines totaling close to $1,000. Inspectors had been to the house more than 20 times, most recently July 24th. That was just last week. There, codes and regulations only did exterior inspections, which is why it took so long to find out what was happening inside the home. In July, they found junk and tree debris piled up in the yard. You can see here tarps, yard equipment, huge tree stumps. That is exactly what they saw there. Right now, Hibble has more than $12,000 worth of liens on that home.
We're following breaking news here just into the WHAS 11 newsroom. This is out of Clifton Heights, again, as you know, just east of downtown Louisville off the Frankfort Avenue area, where Metro Police detectives are investigating a homicide. You're looking live at the scene. This is Idlewood Drive, right off Brownsboro Road.
An LMPD spokesperson says officers responded to the area right around 3:30 this afternoon. They found a man who had been shot, and that man did die at the scene. Anyone with any information should call the anonymous tip line. You can see this active scene happening right now with this live look. You can also report tips to the online portal.
And updating a late night verdict that we told you about first on the WHAS 11 night team last night at 11. A man from Indiana has been found guilty in the slayings of his wife and a bystander in southern Indiana. Floyd County jury returned and found Sherrock Douglas guilty on 2 counts of murder, attempted murder of a police officer, and robbery. The jury deliberated nearly 8 hours through the day yesterday before reaching their decision after 11 o'clock. The Floyd County prosecutor says Douglas killed his wife Brandy and a bystander, Lauren Yell, at a New Albany gas station in 2022. Today, we were told by the prosecutor that this was the verdict they were hoping for.
Last night, we received a verdict from the jury of guilty on all 4 counts. We're incredibly grateful. Our team has put in months of work on this case, developing evidence, preparing ourselves for the trial. And so we're so grateful for the jury listening and hearing the evidence on both sides and then rendering a verdict of guilty on all 4 of those.
Douglas will be sentenced later this month on August 29th.
Developing this afternoon, a JCPS school bus was involved in a serious head-on crash near Bellarmine University. It happened right before noon. LMPD says they responded to the crash involving a school bus and a pickup truck at Newburgh Road in Trevilian. The initial investigation showed the truck suddenly swerved into the path of the bus and they collided head-on. According to JCPS, the bus driver was practicing his run ahead of the first day of school, so there were no kids on board that school bus. The bus driver was taken to the hospital. The pickup truck driver was extracted from the truck. We're told she was alert when she was transported to the hospital, but she does have serious injuries.
The Sherman-Minton Bridge might be opening sooner than expected. That's according to a brand new update that came out today from the Kentucky Governor, Andy Beshear. The bridge was shut down due to an emergency structural issue that crews discovered just last week. The governor says that on the emergency construction, the emergency construction has been progressing day and night, and the expectation is that the bridge will be open by this weekend.
It is our hope that we will have the Sherman-Minton Bridge back up in some capacity by Monday.
Crews had originally put the target reopening date on Monday. Governor Beshear said when it does reopen, it will be back in a limited basis.
This afternoon, there were reports of a possible active shooter prompting officials inside the Senate office building in Washington, D.C. to shelter in place. Right now, investigators say they have not found any shooter or any injuries, and just recently they gave the all clear there at the scene. Authorities say there is currently no active threat. A spokesperson for Washington, D.C. Metro Police say they believe the call was a fake report. Now, police are working to trace the source of that call.
So in the summertime, hey, we normally don't like a scene like this. It's cloudy and gloomy, but folks, those clouds save the day. And as not Reed, your Ben Pine over there just told us, this barely got to 80 degrees today, Shay.
That's a temperature we love to hear, Ben.
Yeah, very nice. And it's been mainly dry across the area. Can't rule out maybe a sprinkle or two this evening, but most locations will stay dry. And our upper 70s out there now, more like late September or early fall-like conditions. So pretty pleasant for the Bats game as the Bats continue their homestand with the Omaha Storm Chasers. Temperatures will be in the 70s through this evening. It is pretty cloudy throughout Kentucky, and that's kept those temps in the upper 70s. Our high temperature today around 80 degrees briefly, and just a very light breeze. Live view here with our UBell Health Camera Network, our Hughes and Coleman cam, and our temp only 75 in Corden, 73 in Paoli, and some mid-70s as well in Hodgenville and Lebanon. On Max HD radar and satellite, you see all the cloud cover coming in from the northwest, and maybe a sprinkle or two showing just a little green on the screen, but a more steady rain developing off to our northwest. That's going to slide down our direction as we head through the late overnight hours. This evening, our temperatures again in the 60s and 70s and maybe that sprinkle chance. But then after midnight and as we approach sunrise, it looks like the chance of some heavier rain showers will be picking up. No severe weather is expected. And then notice trending drier as we head into tomorrow afternoon. This is around 3 p.m. So our forecast for tonight, showers developing late night, 68 our low temperature, 75 after a wet morning, about midday 75, and then drying out in the afternoon with our high temperature still around 80 degrees. We're going to turn up the heat for the weekend. We'll show you how hot it will get coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. Kentucky's economy taking center stage in the governor's race. State Republicans aligning one key metric with current Governor Andy Beshear, who of course is vying for re-election.
Beshear has touted job growth and low unemployment, while Republican nominee for governor Daniel Cameron has expressed concern over labor force participation. Isaiah Kim Martinez looks into how these numbers are playing into the November election.
This week, the State Chamber of Commerce pointed to Kentucky ranking 7th lowest in the whole country when it comes to the rate of people working. Now, Kentucky Republicans were quick to tie this to Governor Andy Beshear, who pushed back on this today. On the campaign trail, Kentucky's governor has commended a historically low unemployment rate. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it sits at 3.8% as of this June. But this week, in an update to lawmakers in Frankfort, a state policy and research executive discussed a different economic metric, Kentucky's workforce participation.
By and large, we've been pretty consistently in the bottom 10 states for workforce participation.
Noting the state had about 20,000 fewer workers this May compared to January 2020 pre-COVID.
It's been troubling for a long period of time. Republican legislators, Democratic legislators, Republican governors, Democratic, haven't done anything to address it.
Ken Trotsky, UK economics professor, says these metrics each hold their own weight but must be considered together. But ultimately, he tells me the governor's actions don't directly correlate with either statistic.
Attaching this to a governor's race may be a little misleading.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
During today's Team Kentucky update, I asked Governor Beshear about the workforce participation numbers.
Listen, you look at our economy, and there's no question it's booming. People can try to cherry pick facts that you could try to throw darts at it. We have a buzz that we have never had before, and we shouldn't be talking ourselves down. We should be lifting ourselves up.
And Beshear honing in on the record number of jobs filled in the state. Meanwhile, the Republican Party of Kentucky telling me in a statement there are fewer Kentuckians working today than when Beshear first took office. In Louisville, Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
Today, Governor Beshear said there are thousands of Kentuckians returning to the workforce each month. According to a monthly unemployment report, the state civilian labor force increased by just over 2,000 people from May to June of this year. A U.S. representative for Indiana has filed a bill to help prioritize funding our workforce development programs. Congresswoman Erin Houchin says she is focused on the need for programs to re-engage adults not participating in the workforce. She cites success from programs like the Goodwill Excel Center in Clarksville. The representative says the bill will ensure these and other programs like it will be prioritized to receive federal funding. Indiana Congressman Mike Braun also filed a similar bill in the Senate.
And we have new information today. Teamsters Local 89 in Louisville did not endorse the tentative contract with UPS at a private meeting in Washington. Teamsters International held what's called a two-person meeting in D.C. on Monday, where every local sends 2 members. Now, the meeting is a standard part of the bargaining process, where union leadership goes through the proposed contract, and at the end, the union holds a vote to see which locals support the contract at the time. A top media official for Teamsters confirmed it was a 161-to-1 vote, with the Louisville chapter being the only no vote. Now, we have reached out to Local 89 for comment, and we've not heard back. This vote has nothing to do with the actual contract ratification, which will be done by the rank and file members themselves, and that voting is scheduled to begin tomorrow. Happening tonight, a developer will present plans to rebuild a burned-down Roosters restaurant and bar in Clarksville. The fire destroyed the place in February, and officials called it a loss. Now they're looking to rebuild the Roosters in a similar way to the old building. The plans even include using the same foundation. The developer will go before the Planning Commission tonight. If they approve construction, they can go forward.